Why are you so passionate about sustainable access to technology?
Well, so working in the Obama administration, I got to see from a federal level, like how decisions are made, who's in a room when decisions are made, how initiatives are started. And I think it's really important that we focus on those who don't have the access necessarily, right? And finding ways that we can pipeline that. So being that I had a wealth of knowledge of the how to, I just felt like it was my duty to do so, right? Like if I know all these communities that are in need, and then I know how to actually get it done, it just made sense that I would be one of those people to supply access and resources to communities without.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Okay. So you were operating in-person sessions with students that then you pivoted, right, during the onset of COVID. And
Right.
so what do you think were the three factors that really contributed to that success? Because it seems like, at least from my understanding, that you all expanded like kind of explosively with
Right.
your Zoom sessions.
Yes. So the key to our sessions, we focus on production and engagement, right? How do you retain an audience? But then after retaining the audience, how do you then grow and amplify?
Mhm.
So we do what makes sense. We hire the experts to do that, to create our content. Who are the experts for Gen Z? Gen Z. Duh. I have no idea. I tell my team all the time, if it was up to me, we'll be listening to Jay-Z all day. But I know that that is not going to activate students from 12 to 17 to be interested. So we hired college students who are about to graduate and high school students to create the content that they felt would keep the kids on the call, right?
I
So
love
we did a
that.
lot of production. Our Zoom calls were very production heavy. We had a lot of artists that the kids were interested in. We had a lot of entertainers in general just give their time. And then we also allowed the students to drive that convo with our guests every time that we had a Zoom call. So they were in control. Like students are in control of our programming from top to bottom.
Very nice. And so how were you able to really bring in some of like your celebrities or like interesting characters that Gen Z would actually care about, you know? How,
That is interesting. So I work a lot with DC filmmaker and comedian Ray Grant.
Mhm.
So we have, I met him. He was actually a mentor when I was in high school, and he gave me like a lot of opportunities when it came to like internships and just opportunities in general. So then I just like, hey, like, let's do something for the kids in DC. And I'm going to need you to work with your friends to bring them to this platform while I work with some of our partners and people that I have relationships with in the entertainment industry to supply them with an audience that they typically wouldn't talk to. And
Mhm.
it was kind of an easy pitch to kind of go through since nobody was doing anything at the top of COVID except for just like sitting in the house. It really wasn't that hard of a sell. Like we didn't have to fly no one out or figure out what time they were going to be in DC. It was like, hey, we just need you on this call at this time. This is a commitment. These are the students and these are the talking points. So it was an easy plug and play for us.
And so just so that everybody out there knows, like when I say that they got some really cool speakers to come in and talk to the students, we're talking about Snoop Dogg, we're talking about, I think I heard T.I. in there. And, you know, I think for the students that you serve, having a direct line to them, like just kind of further instills how important what they're doing is, and like that you're creating access for them.
Right.
And so with that, you all have a campaign called Don't Sweat the Tech. So
Yeah.
can you talk to me about like how you've been able to provide so many resources on such a large scale?
Yes. So Don't Sweat the Tech campaign is literally us telling our students not to sweat technology that they don't have while working in the pandemic. So we were able to collaborate with multiple nonprofits just to kind of see like what do your students need? Is there a need for like laptops or just stuff in general? And from there we were able to devise a plan and go back to some of our tech partners or just people in the industry and say, hey, we have a huge need of X, Y, and Z. Like our kids cannot log on to do their Zoom calls or to access their work for their schools. Is there any way that we can get some help like immediately? This is something that we cannot put on the back burner. So we were able to get a substantial amount of laptops donated to us. We were able to raise a substantial amount of funds as well for us to continue programming. But we also just did a very big push. We were able to give out 200 soundproof headphones for
Wow.
students who are affiliated with our program and or are currently enrolled in it through the women at Tiger's Eye Management, who manages Rappa Chica. So they were a huge play into how we're getting this technology out. So we were able to give it to kids in like Boston, Atlanta, Alabama, a few in Ohio, New Jersey, New York, Baltimore, and of course, DC. So we're trying to fill in a gap so the students are well equipped to do their work.
I love that. And so now I definitely hope that you were watching a little earlier, because Denise interviewed someone from Comcast, and it sounds like they would be a natural partner for you guys if they aren't already. So somebody's got to get you all together, because they're really trying to like give out hardware and help give access to people that don't have it. Yeah. So we're going to make sure that we get you connected. So what does the post-COVID version of the Hustlers Guild look like?
So we just wrapped up camp this week on Wednesday, but we are trying to figure out what is actually going to work as we transition through like the next phase of life. So we did half virtual, half in person. And this was a filmmakers camp that we did, the Hustlers Guild alongside Red Grant. We did script writing, character development. The kids wrote their entire script out on Zoom for a few days. And then we did in person, which was very COVID friendly. We had a very short and small staff list who participated with the kids. But it was a very cool experience. We had like Backyard Band came out to be instructors for the day. Pinky Cornkiller came out. We had McKinton come out. A lot of people like who are super active in DC that the students know. Davey Ruffy did a his session with the kids as well. And then we also had former NBA player Matt Barnes fly out from Cali to spend 3 days with the kids to work with them as like a mentor. And he announced last night that he's like fully on board with the film camp to get more of his peers and colleagues to invest more into this. So right now we're just kind of figure out what is working while we try to make sure that we follow the regulations and keep our kids safe. But with the violence in DC right now, we want to keep our kids engaged and give them something to do, and using arts as a healing method so they can put their energy in towards something that is a little bit more productive. So Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Cameras was a huge success that we just piloted out in DC. And we're looking for the next 5 cities to go ahead and roll that out over the next year.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. That is so great. Like, Yasmin, thank you so much for being here with us today, for your time, for the work that you're doing in the community, because you're absolutely filling a gap. It's so needed. It's so needed.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. All right. Well, that's it. I think that we're wrapping Win TV today, and we'll see you all next week.
See ya. Thanks, Claudia.
Bye.
Bye.